In this episode of our review series, we're going to take a look at a TV series on Netflix called Dark Winds. It's about the Navajo Police based on a famous Tony Hillerman novels, and it's very exciting whodunit with a great storyline about the characters that you're going to love.
Did you catch who did it?
Not yet. So no leads, no idea who may have done such a terrible thing.
You hear about this armored car robbery? Eyewitnesses placed that hijacked chopper headed into Navajo country.
Thought we were talking about a double homicide.
We're talking about both.
Anna died of cardiac arrest. She was 20 years old. The coroner said that she was scared to death. I promise you, I'll find who did this to her.
So as you can see from the trailer, it's pretty exciting. But I do want to start off by saying that this is so well done. The production value is so high. I'm just absolutely, my breath is almost taken away by the scenes of the Southwest, how great the camera work is. And it's a thriller, and they do the close-ups and they use dark where they're supposed to use dark, and you know a little bit more about the characters than I do because I just started watching it. I'm into episode 2, but they are wonderful.
Yeah, it's a Tony Hillerman is a very well-known author, a very successful author who did a number of books on these characters. Lieutenant Joe Leaphorn is the head of the Navajo Police Department, and Jim Chi is a young Navajo returning to the reservation from the big city, and he's an investigator. And of course, there's a lot of what Tony Hillerman was famous for is bringing a lot of the Native American lore in, as well as the spirituality. So it's his series of novels are very popular, big sellers, and I think they've been made into a couple of movies here and there, but this is the first time it's a TV series, and it's very well done. One of the things they did, Robert Redford is the executive producer. One of the things they did is they really took a note from Tony Hillerman to keep it authentic. So I believe every single one of the actors who are playing Native Americans are Native American.
Right.
Some more famous than others. You'll recognize the guy who plays Joe Leaphorn, Zahn McLennan. You've seen him in recently in a dozen different series, and he looks Indian. He plays the Indian. I think he was the Indian police chief on what was the show in Wyoming with Kevin Costner? At any rate,
Yellowstone.
Yellowstone. You'll recognize him. And it's also my favorite. One of my favorite guys is A. Martinez, who shows up as another policeman for another division, like the county sheriff or something. And anyway, great cast, wonderful actors, very authentic. And I think they've, as far as I know, everything they're talking about that's Indian is accurate because it looks like they really went out of their way to make it so. But
yeah,
good story.
I really particularly appreciate the fact that you and I are both big fans of J.A. Jance, and she has a whole series of thrillers. But one of them, and it's her shortest version, but it's based around Bisbee, where she actually personally grew up, and she was also a librarian for the Navajo Nation and other indigenous tribes for many, many years. And so the Walker, she has a series about the Walker family, which brings in a lot of the historic lore of the local tribes. And the interesting part for me was that both the sheriff and even the new kid on the block, who's an undercover agent, they opened that up very quickly. So in fact, it was pretty obvious to me before I even found it out that he's an undercover agent. But they're all Native Americans, and they all have a very close relationship, some closer than others, to the lore, the mystique and the
Right.
fears of the mysteries of things that are passed down. But they
Yeah.
understand that, so that they constantly bring that in as part of their investigative activities, and it's important
Yeah. Yeah,
because
it is.
they understand the criminals that they're going after and the kinds of things that they're employing to throw them off.
Yeah. I love your comparison to J.A. Jance's Walker
Yeah.
series of books, Brandon Walker being a Navajo policeman, and Tony Hillerman's series, this one called Dark Winds,
Mm.
with Joe Leaporn, Lieutenant Joe Leaporn, and Detective Jim Chi. And the interesting thing about Leaporn and Chi is, of course, they're different generations, but they're also different levels of commitment to the Navajo way of life and the Navajo spiritual background and the reservation. Let's face it, the reservation is not a great place, and they're trying to do the best they can. And sometimes the white man's crime invades the reservation, and sometimes it's the Native Americans who are committing the crime. Anyway, this particular series, it's a mini series. Um, Art, what did you say? 6 or 8 episodes?
There's 6 per season so far. There are 2 seasons, and the third season, I think, is launching sometime in this year.
Oh, okay. I'm looking forward to it. Anyway,
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I don't remember the book. I know I read it because I read all of Tony Hillerman's stuff. And I don't remember the book, but it's a wonderful series, and it is a great mystery series. Besides being this interesting look at the Native Americans of the Navajo tribe and their
Mm.
clans. You're right; they all have various clans and looking and seeing the way they live. This looks like it's really shot on the reservation, even though it wasn't completely
No,
done there.
but really, it is so well done that they found the place where they got rid of any telephone poles or things like that that shouldn't be there, and it's almost like a John Ford in just this raw, pristine
Yes.
outback. Maybe very likely they shot it on Indian reservations that are pretty wide open anyway. And it'd
Yeah.
be my guess is because they employed so many Native Americans as extras and as key characters in this. But the cinematography I thought, was outstanding and
Yeah.
just wasn't expecting it. Part of that has to do with, take a look at the executive producers. There are about 19 of them, which means that there are a lot of guys with a lot of money like Redford who wanted to see this done. And by the way, I
Yeah.
think it was you who, I read it someplace, but you told me that Redford had gotten the rights to the Hillerman series or a number of the books, and he was sitting on this trying to get it put together and couldn't raise the money for it. And then I
Yeah.
guess he found, take a look at the executive producers. They're probably all guys with deep pockets. Okay, and they probably did enough, and they had enough sway to get other people to eventually fund it. But it is so well done. This is
Yeah.
not a budget movie. This is well done, well produced, post produced. I'm just super impressed with the
Well,
whole
it's
thing.
you think about it. You know what I love about these limited series on Netflix and Amazon, and obviously this came from AMC. This was originally done for AMC,
Hmm.
and then AMC must have played it, had a good success. I don't know how old it is. Can't be more than a year or two old.
Yeah, no,
Now it's on
I think it
Netflix.
was first released in 2022. Season 2 is 2023, and 2024 is now going to be the third season.
Right. So now
Yeah.
it's on Netflix where we're watching it, and it's a big hit for Netflix.
Hmm.
So I think it's wonderful the way these streaming services, if you want to call them that, buy and sell from each other and play for a different audience.
Sure.
Keep these wonderful things. Of course, there's also I Love Lucy. We saw the Doris Day show the other night. There's all kinds of stuff on these services,
Hmm.
but the new stuff is really good. And the fact that it's been on AMC is no biggie to me. So I applaud Robert Redford and all the others who got this made in the first place and then got it sold to Netflix. I think it's great.
Well, I think well, this is one that we all could agree. You and I, if we had 5 thumbs each, this would be 10 thumbs up. I mean, this is really,
Yeah.
this, if you like thrillers, not a rom-com. This is not a rom-com.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
So
Well,
if you like thrillers, this is outstanding.
there's a lot of good cliffhangers in every episode. The bad guys are really bad, and you don't always know who they are. And there's plenty of secrets that come out, and there's a love story. Jim Chi and the Native American Navajo deputy Bernadette, played by Jessica Matten, beautiful girl. So there's that. There's a little bit of everything. It's a really good series.
For more on Celebrating Act Two, visit our webpage, follow us on Facebook, subscribe to us on YouTube, and tell your friends. Celebrating Act Two is the user manual for the second half of your life.